And I actually would like to share an excerpt from chapter 24, I believe, Alert the Media. And that kind of goes into the whole how the newspaper article came to be, and as well as just kind of gives you a greater idea of my writing style and everything. So, committing to physical rest, I rechanneled my eager energy and picked up my phone to text James. "Are you ready for Sunday?" I asked him. "Oh yeah," James enthusiastically responded. "You're gonna crush it. Alert the media." James' visible enthusiasm made me smile. The notion to alert the media, meanwhile, gave me cause to laugh. "What media?" I responded to James. "All of them," he wrote back. "This is your time to highlight everything you do, CP Vigilante." Reading his reply, I realized James was serious. He genuinely wanted me to alert the media. A sudden shyness swallowed up my laughter from moments before. Instinctively, I wanted to write back, "No, you alert the media. If I do it, I'll come across as egotistical. It would be better for you to get the message out." That's a lesson I learned from experience a year and a half earlier when James and I gathered to film my original #IBB Top 3 video. James approached the coffee shop owner. So this was Jackie's coffee shop when it was at South Euclid. We went to and asked permission to record. In doing so, he mentioned I am an author. "You're an author?" The shop owner came up to me as James and I situated ourselves. "Yes," I replied, quickly adding, "I have a couple of books available in ebook format on the Kindle and Nook." A disclaimer I always felt necessary to add, at least until February 2020, when I released Off Balance in paperback format. Anyway, back to the point. That day filming at the coffee shop led to the owner offering me a spot in a monthly author event she held at her shop. I credit the opportunity to having James there to tout my book. Much better than the alternative. Me walking in all smug and saying, "I'm an author." Alternative to the owner offering me a spot in her monthly author events, I might have received an eye roll representing the thought, "Let's serve this big-headed goof and get him out of here." I imagined receiving similar reactions if I wrote to the media outlets exclaiming, "I have cerebral palsy and I'm doing a marathon Sunday." However, if James sent such messages, the reaction would go from, "Look at this self-absorbed fool," to intrigue. "Tell us more about your friend," I envisioned those outlets saying in response to James. Then again, I knew James maintained a busy schedule. Just getting him on the phone for 15 minutes stood an accomplishment. Asking him to alert the media would take already scheduled time away from his day. Plus, explaining all the above about why James should alert the media instead of me felt like a lot to slowly tap into my phone. "Might as well do it myself," I internally mumbled. So I responded to James with a one-word response. "Okay." Hey, without any physical training to do, I had time to fill. To start, I brainstormed all the relevant media outlets I could contact. From a city publication I could claim relevance to because I worked in that city, to Northeast Ohio's biggest newspaper, The Plain Dealer. Heck, I even attempted to contact an ESPN reporter. Contacting Pacific reporters proved essential to my alert the media plan. A strategy I ironically first obtained during my required college internship. Ironic because my internship saw me do public relations, PR work for the local band Life After August, a band fronted by James. When preparing to send press kits out, my advisor for the internship highly encouraged I send the kits to specific people as opposed to addressing the kits to a general department or whom it may concern. Addressing a message or package directly to someone increases the chance you receive a response. Send to whom it may concern, and nobody becomes concerned. Equipped with this knowledge, I visited the respective website for each media outlet I decided to contact, searching archives for cerebral palsy-related human interest stories, jotting down reporter names, and seeking their contact information. Morning soon tuned to the afternoon as I sent out my carefully worded emails. Subject line, a variation of human interest story, which might interest you. To squash my concerns about being self-absorbed, after introducing myself, I honestly admitted to be feeling hesitant reaching out, concerned I might come across too self-promotional. Nonetheless, friends and family encouraged me to reach out, so I am doing just that. While I'm talking about being self-promotional, I do have a limited supply of this shirt that I'm wearing available. If you're interested, I'm short sleeves and sleeveless, so we can see if we have your size. And then, of course, I have my books for sale as well today. Well, I know many of you have already have them. So, how are we doing? A couple more. My approach earned almost immediate success. Within the hour, I emailed the Plain Dealer's Michael McIntyre. I received a response back. He expressed an interest in my story and asked if I would be available for a phone interview. Thanking him for his prompt response, I gave him my number and we arranged the interview. Wednesday morning, my phone rang. Hello, I answered. Is this the CP Vigilante? The upbeat voice on the other end asked. That I am. So you're the one. I am, I responded with a chuckle. This is Michael McIntyre calling from the Plain Dealer, Michael said, confirming what I suspected. Is now still a good time for you to talk? I glanced over at the clock. A little after 10 a.m. Yes, now's a good time. Great. So what really caught my attention about your email was twofold. The fact you'll be starting the marathon at 5:30 a.m. in the morning in pitch darkness. On the fact you are using a cane. How does one run with a cane? The interview began. Well, I started answering his question. It's less of a run and more of just walking. I see. And how long do you expect the marathon to take you? 8 hours, I answered, fully believing in my ability to achieve a 5K an hour pace. Spoiler alert, it took a lot longer. What's the longest distance you have done in your training? Have you had any falls training? What was your motivation to pursue a marathon? How did you and your friend James meet? Michael rifled off the questions and I answered them. 20 or so minutes later, Michael brought the interview to a close. Thanks for your time today, Zach. So you know, the plan will be to run your story the morning of the race. That's awesome, I said ecstatically. It will be motivation to keep me going when I get tired. Now, Zach, Michael said, his voice becoming a little sterner, don't let the article put extra pressure on you. If you only finish 10 miles, remember, that's 10 more miles than everyone sitting at home reading the paper. Thanks, I said politely. Truthfully, though, I remained unswayed by Michael's counsel, still thinking the newspaper article will provide the extra motive I would need when the inevitable tiredness hit Sunday. Michael advising me to not worry about finishing and just doing my best was not the first source of external doubt I encountered. You may recall Kathy Cole giving me the FYI. Many people quit around the 18-mile point when the course loops past the finish line. In addition to Kathy, the doubt surfaced from the individuals close to me. I'm not trying to be mean, Mom prefaced comments one day as Dad and I sat in the kitchen discussing the marathon. But what if you can't? I sputtered out the filler words to buy myself time and contemplate how to best answer such a question. Previously, I had not let my mind go there. Even when I sat blurred vision at the side of Mayfield Road, dehydrated. Temptation to call Dad and end my training for the day surfaced for that day. Yet I never allowed myself to think, I can't with the bigger picture. Instead, I constantly saw what I needed to do to become marathon ready. I ordered a hydration belt to combat future dehydration. When my new running shoes geared up more falls and miles, I didn't think, I can't. No, I decided to turn back to my trusty New Balance sneakers. After growing scared from a fall, believing I came quite close to seriously injuring my shoulder, I didn't think, I can't. Nope. I used that fear to give conviction to my decision to use my cane for the marathon. Now, though, I sat confronted with the thought. I had to answer. Mom spoke clearly enough. I cannot pretend I did not hear her or anything. Well, I continued stalling as the thoughts of my mind conferenced together, determining what to say. I have the person in charge, Kathy's number, in my phone. If I see I can't finish, I'll have to call her to wave the white flag. The answer seemed to satisfy Mom's concerns, and the conversation moved ahead. Once past the question, what if you can't, I too moved ahead. And I'm going to end the excerpt there so we can have some time for Q&A. If you enjoyed that excerpt from Slow and Cerebral, make sure you go to the link in this video's description where you can purchase Slow and Cerebral yourself from Amazon. Additionally, if you had any interest in the However Move shirt I was wearing in the video or a pink version of it, reach out to me on Facebook or Instagram and let me know what spoke to you about the excerpt. Share in the comments while you're down below. Hit the thumbs up icon to tell YouTube and show the world you like the video. If you're not already, subscribe and ring the bell icon to be notified every time I publish a new video. As always, until next time, don't blend in, blend out.